and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. And today is my October wrap-up. Now, I've already filmed my October wrap-up once. I'm really stiff today. I think I slept funny last night, but my whole chest and neck feels really stiff, so I'm moving very like a robot. I've already filmed this once, filmed it at the weekend, and filmed it, lovely, very pleased with it, went to edit it. I have got so much lipstick on my teeth in that video. Not even the amount where I could be like, oh, sorry guys, I've got a bit of lipstick on my teeth, like in the comments or something like that. It was literally like lipstick. I said to David, can I put this up? He said, no one will listen to a word you're saying. They'll just be looking at your lipstick the whole time. So here I am again to record my October wrap up again, but also just before I do that, just want to say thank you to everyone who'd sent kind messages on Instagram about Minnie not being very well. Yeah, so on Monday I got home and Minnie had been sick, which isn't unusual. She does be sick occasionally, and there was a furball, which she gets, she's a long-haired cat, but she was also very covered in dribble and like stressed dribble, and puke, and she sneezed up some blood on the floor and on some bed sheets and things like that. Anyway, we kept an eye on her, sort of like weighing up against whether or not to take her to the vets, because she gets stressed going to the vets as well. Kept an eye on her, got her some malt paste to sort of help things get down, and she seems much better today. She's actually not really leaving me alone. She keeps following me around. She's sleeping on the blanket over there at the moment, but yeah, she's much better. So thank you to everyone who sent well wishes about her. Really appreciate it. But let's get on with this wrap up so then I can go and lay down and my chest can stop hurting. So in the month of, also I haven't got any lights on, I've just got the natural light, so it might, the light levels might fluctuate, but we're all adults, we can deal with that. So I read 7 books in the month of October. Happy Halloween, it's October, it's Halloween today, and that's like a lot of books, well done, but that's not my normal amount of books, and I put that down to 2 things. One thing being that I had tonsillitis at the beginning of the month, blah blah blah, she keeps going on about tonsillitis, but I did have tonsillitis at the beginning of the month. I couldn't concentrate on anything, couldn't read, couldn't even really watch telly. I sort of plopped things on the telly, but just sort of most of the time just spent like that. So that's one reason. It put me out of action for like 6 days of reading, which I'd probably finished like at least 2 books in that. And there's another reason, and I'll see the other reason over there, so 2 seconds. And the other reason is that I've been reading the Book of Dust, the second Book of Dust, the Secret Commonwealth. Now, I am very close to finishing this. I'm on page 634, and it's 687 pages. So I've got about 50 pages left, which I am hoping to finish today. Now, shame I didn't finish this before, because I could have included it in my wrap-up, but such is the modern world. I've got loads of videos to film today, so I can't hang around hoping I'm going to finish that. But yeah, I will put my thoughts about that. But because it's such a big book, it's taken me a long time to read it, and also because when I got the first Book of Dust, I sort of just went to it like and didn't really take much in, so I've been really trying to read it slowly. There's a lot of characters, a lot of organisations, a lot of goings on in there, so I've been really trying to take it in slowly and like read it and dedicate some time to it, so it's been taking a little bit longer. So 7 books this month, I'm not complaining. 7 books this month, and I haven't even talked about one of them. We're 3 minutes in now, so let's get going. So I'll talk about the 2 audiobooks first. The first one I read was Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. God, I always wonder if I've got the right Bronte. Yeah, it is Emily Bronte. I wish there was one somewhere I could remember that. Because I've got a friend called Emily, and I've got a friend, and my sister's called Charlotte. So Jane Eyre is a woman. No, how am I going to remember that? I'll have to think of something. But yeah, I listened to Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Now, this is a book that I've read a lot of times over the years. It's one of the first classics I went to alone, outside of being forced to do it at school. And it's always held a little bit of a, I'm going to have to lean on here because my bloody chest. It's always held quite a sort of a place in my heart, because it's one of those classics that I read by myself, and previously I'd always told myself I very much enjoyed it, and I did used to enjoy it, and I went off it for quite some time because they're all unbearable bastards in that book. But I listened to the audiobook of it this time from Audible, which is narrated by Joanne Froggatt, who plays Anna Bates in Downton Abbey. She's got a very good voice. She does the voices amazing. She does the accents and everything really well, and she really made me like it again, you know. I do not deny that everyone in that story is a prick. Like, everyone. Kathy, Heathcliff, Linton, Nellie, she's interfering, is Nellie. The narrator, you're hearing it from the perspective of, oh, they're all idiots. But I did enjoy it this time round. So I think I used to give it 5 stars, then it went down to 4 stars, then it went down to 3 stars. I think the last time I read it went down to about 2 stars. I popped it back up to a 3 star, so well done for that. And then the second audiobook I read, and I won't go into much detail about this, was the Amber Spyglass, written by Philip Pullman. As I said, I've been reading the Book of Dust, and this is set 10 years after the book, the Amber Spyglass finishes. So I wanted to read the first book of Dust first, then the trilogy, and then get to this. So I've read them in order, and I did that. Really enjoyed the Amber Spyglass. Super sad at the end. I was listening to it in my reading vlog that I will link down below, and I knew previously that I'd been very upset when I got to the end of the Amber Spyglass, so I was sort of like walking down to the library thinking, oh god, I'm going to cry any minute now, but I managed to hold it in. But yeah, very much enjoyed it as always. But let's get on to the actual books now. So the first book I read was Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. This is a graphic novel illustrated by Faith Erin Hicks. Rainbow Rowell, I've read a few books by her, sort of YA books and things like this, and I would say this is definitely a YA graphic novel. I've really enjoyed this. It's really fun. You follow Deja and Josiah, who are friends that work on a pumpkin patch once a year, every year, and they're very good friends while that happens, and then they don't really see each other for the rest of the year. Now, it's this is their last year of doing that because they are now going off to college, and they're sort of wanting to have like the best night ever now, and that also includes getting Josiah to talk to a girl that he's had a crush on for a really long time who works at the pumpkin patch. Loved the illustrations, so autumnal, so fun, really good sort of like bi visibility in here. Deja is a bisexual character. It's just mentioned in her exes. One's a boy and one's a girl. Lovely stuff. And yeah, really good colour palette. Really great. Like, it gave me a really good feeling for what it would be like to go to like one of these American pumpkin patches, which are sort of making their way slowly over here. We've got one sort of near to where we live, which we didn't go to this year because it was just so rainy. But like with like different foods and things like that. So it's really nice to hear like autumn and Halloween from the perspective of what it's like in another country, which is slowly making its way over here. But just such fun. Really enjoyed it. Gave it 4 stars. Really cute, really enjoyable. Would definitely recommend. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Lovely. The next book I've read, I also really enjoyed. Do you know what? I had a really good reading month this month. One book I was sad about because I was hoping I was going to really love it and I didn't. But the rest of them I gave like 4 or 5 stars. Well done, everyone. The next one is a 5-star book. This is The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. Do not like this front cover. It's a TV adaptation front cover, and I do not like TV adaptation front cover, but I did buy this second hand in the Margate bookshop in Margate, which is an independent bookshop that sells new books and second hand books, which is lovely. But less about where I bought it and more about the actual book. Read this for my book club with my friends. I've been meaning to read this for such a long time. It was fantastic. Gothic, mystery, timeline, something happening in the past, something happening now, intrigue, loads about books in there. The main character, I guess if you call her the main character, you're following 2 timelines. So Margaret, who works in a bookshop that's owned by her father, she has been asked to interview and write a memoir of a famous author called Vida Winter, who's famously been very cagey about her past and sort of told some untruths and things like that, and no one's really sure what her backstory is. And Margaret is asked to look into that backstory, and she tells her the backstory, and it's a backstory of twins and illicit parenting and like not being, like living really insular lives in this gothic old rundown beautiful house, and sort of nannies who come to maybe fix things and end up getting it all gets a bit grim. But I don't really want to tell you the full structure of the book because it come to me so beautifully. Like when I was reading it, I was so intrigued by the whole lot of it. I loved it so much. I bought the audiobook, not the audiobook, I bought the adaptation of it on DVD, and it's arrived, and I must watch it at some point. I don't think I'll get a chance to watch it today, but I must watch it at some point. But really love this. Beautifully written. The description is lovely. Characters are fantastic. I'm struggling to find anything wrong with it. I loved it so much. So yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy that as well. But would definitely recommend, particularly for this time of year. Perfect. Then the next one I read was the first book I've read by this author, which is quite exciting, and it was an Agatha Christie book. Never read any Agatha Christie book before. That's a lie. I started a Christmas book of hers a long time ago when I was a teenager. I remember buying it in Tesco's which was like a long time ago, and I didn't get on with it. But this I really enjoyed. This is And Then They Were None by Agatha Christie. Now as I said, this is the first Agatha Christie I've read, so do please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the majority, or if not all other Agatha Christie books, are told with somebody who is the investigator. So Poirot, for instance, investigating cases and things like that. But what I really liked about this, and if there are any other Agatha Christie books like this, do let me know, was that there wasn't an investigator in this. This tells the tale of 10 people who are sent to, who go to an island called Skull Island for various varying reasons. Some people think it's because they're going to work there. Some people think it's because they're going to a party that of someone they've met before. All sorts of reasons. Everyone's sort of like blindly just nodding along and going. And then when they get there, murders start happening and they're picked off one by one until there are none. And it's just really well done. I was really built suspense and tension, and like I was sort of speculating as to who was gonna get it next. And yeah, and then it sort of, the whole way through I was like, I have no idea who is doing these murders. I have no idea. And then it sort of sets it all out in the epilogue for you. And even then I was like, bloody hell, I never would have thought that. But yeah, really, really enjoyed it. But do let me know if there's other Agatha Christie's that are like this, where they haven't got a case. And also, actually, even the Poirot books, do I need to start from the beginning of the Poirot books, or can I just pick any Poirot book? Because I really would like to read some more Agatha Christie, and I particularly think I'll go back to the Christmas one this year. I think it was called like something about a Christmas pudding, or the Tale of the Christmas Pudding. I've got a feeling it might even been what my cousin Laura was reading last year on Christmas Cozy Reading Night. So yeah, very much enjoyed that, and I gave it 4 stars. So yeah, I will just say, disclaimer, there is a lot of stuff in here which is very much of its time, which I've tried to sort of put to side, because the stuff in here, so there's quite a lot of anti-Semitism and like misogyny and things like that. But I've tried to sort of like put that to one side, because the storyline itself and the atmosphere that was created, I was really into. So yeah, it's tough, isn't it, to sort of like weigh those things out. But if I'm to put that to one side, then I would definitely give this 4 star. But yeah, mindful that it's very much of its time. Now the next book is a book that I was slightly disappointed with, and this is with The Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. Now I read Elizabeth Acevedo's book, The Poet X, earlier this year, which I gave 5 stars. Really, really loved it. Written in verse. Fantastic book. Got it out from the library, sadly don't own it. And after I'd reviewed that so glowingly, a lot of people were like, oh, you'll love With the Fire on High. And actually I bought myself a copy. I bought myself a hardback copy, which is beautiful, but I also got sent a copy by the publisher, which was lovely in the end. So I've got 2 copies, so I need to do something with them. But this for me, so you follow Imoni, who is a young mother. She had a child. She's got a 2-year-old child, and she's 17 years old, and she lives at home with her grandmother. Her mother and father aren't around. Her mother died, I believe, in childbirth, and her father sort of like lives elsewhere, pops back every so often, but not really there. So it's to do with her life and trying to balance like school life and being a mother, and also like living with her grandmother, and her grandmother's still looking after her granddaughter, like, and just being involved and things like that. But she's also really into cooking, and she's got a really big skill with cooking, and she starts a cooking course at school, and that involves a trip to Spain, and there's sort of like some questions about whether or not she's going to raise the money to get to Spain, and then she does raise the money to get to Spain, and it's all fine. It's very although it tackles sort of quite although it tackles topics such as like teenage pregnancy and being a teenage mother, and potentially and living with people who don't have that much money and things like that, it's all very much sort of done and dusted. Everything's wrapped up very nicely, which maybe on another day I would have loved, and I know plenty of people that would love this book because of that very reason. There's something that happened in it 3 times that I really can't bear, and it sort of brought me back with a bang as to I was reading YA and why I don't always read YA, and that's the line, "I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding." That line is said 3 times in this book, and because I hate that line, I noticed that. Any other reader probably wouldn't even notice that, but it brought me back with a bang of sort of like, oh God. And it sort of reminds me of like manic pixie fairy girls, and like how like, yeah, just a bit so I still, like I said, there's a massive audience of books that will love this. When I was a teenager, I would have bloody loved this, but I gave it 2 stars, and it's all just a bit sort of tied up nicely with a little bow on for me, and that line, oh God, that line, let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. No thank you. But yeah, gave it 2 stars, but I know there's plenty of people that will enjoy this very much. And then the last book was another 5-star book, so fantastic month for 5 stars and 4-star books, and that's Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. This was the book that I read for my Patreon book club. We wanted to read a spooky book for October, and the choice was between this and Frankenstein, which I vowed to read in October, and I just never got round to it because of Book of Dust, and this one, and oh, for falling over. Do you know what, guys? I loved this. This was so cozy and perfect. And as I mentioned earlier, I had been unwell with tonsillitis, and after I'd been unwell, I couldn't find anything. I couldn't concentrate on anything, and there was nothing that was really like exciting me and things. And I picked up this book, and it was just so cozy and perfect, and like had all the right themes and funness for me in there that I just had such a great time reading it. It follows, well, a number of sets of sisters. It's about sisterhood and witchcraft, but not in a sort of like really blatant way. It's like in a sort of like spiritual way, like a sprinkle of it, like a little sprinkle of witchcraft in there. But you follow a set of sisters. So you follow Gillian and Sally, who are raised by their aunts, who are also sisters. Sally has 2 daughters, and they're also sisters. And Gillian and Sally are very different people. And Sally stays living with the aunts and meets someone from the local hometown, and something tragic happens to him, and then her and her daughters move away. Gillian has more of a sort of upheaval. She sort of floats around. She falls in love hard, and she falls in love quite often, and eventually she falls in love with the wrong kind of person, and something happens there, and then she returns to her sister, and it's just witchcraft and magic and sisterhood and camaraderie and autumn and beautiful description, and I loved it. I really, really loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I bought the prequel to this, which is called The Rules of Magic, which I think I might be reading. Spoiler, but I think I might be starting that on Cozy Reading Night. But yeah, really, really enjoyed it, and need to watch the adaptation of it, because I think I'm going to love it. So yeah, those are the books that I read in the month of October. So although not as many as my normal, still 1, 2, 5 stars. Well, 3 of you include 3 of you include the Amber Spyglass, 2 4 stars, a 2 star, and a 3 star. It's pretty good going, isn't it? So let me know what you read in the month of October. I hope you're all having a lovely Halloween, spoopy. I've got my trick or treat badge on. It's got, I can't even look down because my chest hurts so much. It's a little cat, and it says trick or treat on it. And yeah, I'm just like a pumpkin latte today. I'm still doing outfits October, and the prompt today was pumpkin. I've got nothing pumpkin-y, so I've got this pumpkin coloured eyeshadow on and these pumpkin coloured trousers, and my cousin Laura, second mention in one video, said, why don't you just pop a white top on, you'll be a pumpkin latte. Here I am. So yeah, so let me know how your reading went in October. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and I will see you all again tomorrow for my Cozy Reading Night TBR. David's going to be joining me as well. He's going to film his too. I'll see you all soon. Bye!